Long before the rise of countries, Africa was home to powerful kingdoms and empires. From the mighty Kingdom of Egypt in the north to the Kingdom of Mali in the west, and from Great Zimbabwe in the south to Ethiopia in the east, Africa was filled with cultures, rich histories, and brave rulers. These empires shaped the continent and laid the foundation for the nations that would one day rise. But change was on the horizon. From the late 1400s onward, ships from Europe began arriving on the coast of Africa. With them came new ideas, technologies, but also a darker side, the transatlantic slave trade. Over time, many parts of Africa were colonized by European powers, who drew borders with no regard to the people who lived there, dividing entire nations and cultures. Africa was not just a place of economic gain for Europeans, but also a land of pain and suffering for its people. Families were torn apart, and ancient kingdoms were dismantled as Europeans imposed their control. But even as they fought to hold on to their heritage, Africans continued to resist, by organizing, by writing, by singing, and by marching for their freedom. In the early 1900s, Africa began to rise. The fight for independence spread through the hearts of the young and the old. Great leaders like Kwame Nkrumah, Nelson Mandela, and Jomo Kenyatta took to the streets and used the power of the people to demand change. The continent's true strength began to awaken. But independence didn't come easily. Countries fought bloody wars for their freedom. And even after they gained it, Africa was still struggling. Colonization had torn apart the continent's unity. Borders created by foreign hands divided people who had lived together for centuries. The journey was far from over. In 1960, an amazing year in history, 17 African nations declared their independence. From Senegal to Nigeria to the Congo, African voices could now be heard across the globe. And though borders still existed, Africa's vision for unity shone brightly. The Organization of African Unity, OAU, was born. Its goal, to unite and strengthen the continent, to ensure that African countries stood together. With independence came new hopes, but also new challenges. Many nations faced poverty, political instability, and corruption. Despite all this, Africans worked tirelessly to build roads, schools, hospitals, and businesses, laying the foundation for a brighter future. Leaders and communities united to push forward, never forgetting the struggles of the past. Today, Africa stands as one of the youngest and most diverse continents in the world. While the struggle for true unity and peace continues, Africans look to their past with pride and forward with hope. The journey from division to unity may still take time, but Africa has always been a land of dreams and